That's the fact. That's what CNN put out there. How, in any situation, could the Cruz campaign justify an email which it put out on the back of that saying, breaking news, I will read that so our viewers know it. The press is reporting Dr. Ben Carson is taking time off from the campaign trail after Iowa and making a big announcement next week. Please inform Carson caucus goers of this news and urge them to caucus for Cruz. How could that be acceptable in any situation?
Well, I think two things, Aaron. One is the reason it was a news story. A travel schedule of a candidate is not a news story in and of itself. The fact that he wasn't going immediately to New Hampshire and South Carolina is why CNN made it a news story in the first place. And this happened minutes before the Iowa caucuses. And I believe what it was a tweet from somebody that's associated with the campaign to say, did you see this? And then they moved on it. And Ted Cruz, again, as I said, he's a very stand-up guy, a man of integrity. He called Dr. Carson immediately, apologized if they had any part of this whatsoever. I'm saying there's a lot of other things that are going on here, but the three candidates that overperformed in the poll numbers are Carson, Rubio, and Cruz on caucus night. So there's no show to say that it dented Carson whatsoever. The candidate that lost the race is the one who's making a big deal about this, as Ted Cruz says. He's having a trumper tantrum because he can't handle losing. He's a sore loser.
Bob, I'm curious, though, because, again, back to the point where, that email was sent out, and that email pretty clearly was saying, look, don't worry about Carson, come vote for Cruz instead, right? There was clarification that came out immediately during caucuses to fix that. And even today, you heard Ted Cruz saying, I apologize to Ben Carson for our team not passing on the subsequent clarification. Again, just to make it clear, there was no subsequent clarification. The report was never inaccurate. The report always said Ben Carson plans to stay in the race beyond Iowa no matter what the results are tonight. What I don't understand is why we can't just get a very clear, we're sorry, this email was wrong, it never should have gone out.
Well, Aaron, I think you also have to take a look at the timeline of the story. The caucuses started at 7 o'clock that night. The timeline of the story is when the CNN initially made the report and where the tweet initially went out. It was like 2 minutes before 7. By the time the clarifying, the caucuses would have been well in. So which would have been 6:43 in the state of Iowa with caucuses starting at 7. But if you follow the subsequent timelines, people were in lines, they were caucusing. My guess is many surrogates never even mentioned it. Matter of fact, that's what I'm told. And I don't know of any voter that was impacted by it whatsoever. And I think what Cruz did is he took responsibility for it. But what it is it's being a story today because Donald Trump lost Iowa after he said all he does is win. And in the first contest is he lost. And so that's why we're talking about this today, when I believe there's a lot of issues and why Ted Cruz is doing well in New Hampshire. I'm here in South Carolina right now. He's doing exceptionally well in South Carolina. People want principled conservative leadership today, and that's why they're rallying around Ted Cruz.
Bob, do you think, though, that it does raise a question of character and integrity, though, that is important for people to understand, right? It may have been a campaign staffer that sent it out, right? But it's Ted Cruz's campaign, and everything that comes from it is a direct reflection on him and his leadership of his campaign, right? He wants to be president of the United States. He's